Welcome to M3 Minutes. I'm Haley Twiggs. Today we're going to speak with another hospitality hero, Mary Parks, Director of Sales and Marketing at the Hilton Garden Inn Annapolis. In the early stages of the pandemic, Mary used the hotel's kitchen to bake cookies for first responders. Mary also personally made masks for the people of Annapolis, and this gave her the inspiration to start #MaskForAnnapolis. This contest encouraged others to help make masks for donation. She rallied Annapolis' mayor, state delegate, state senator, and Office of Emergency Management to help spread the word of the contest. The contest ended up resulting in over 3,000 masks being made for the community. So to start it off, if you just want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've lived in Annapolis, and what got you into the hospitality industry, we can start there.
Okay, so I don't actually live in Annapolis. I live in Ellicott City, which is about 25 miles away. I love the city of Annapolis, though. It's amazing. I've been in hospitality for about 100 years. So, yeah, actually probably like 1993, pretty close. And the reason I got into it is I've always been like what do you call it? For when you're in school, like the classroom mother, I've always been a helper.
Yes.
And it's just been, and it's just like pretty nice to make people happy, I guess.
Awesome. So you're the Director of Sales and Marketing, correct?
Yes.
So what all does that job entail on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, so basically I'm responsible for all the Type 1 revenue that comes into this hotel through either setting up local negotiated accounts, booking groups, working with some of our partners in the community for any needs they may have, and then taking care of them once they're here. We have not a ton of meeting space, but we do have space. So we're starting to actually pick up with meetings again, which is pretty awesome.
That is awesome. It is great to see the industry starting to go on an upward trend again. So I was reading about your Mask for Annapolis and was just blown away. So we'll and I know it started with cookies. You were baking cookies in the kitchen of the hotel for the essential workers. So how did that come about, and how did it transition to mask later on?
Okay, so a year ago, all of a sudden everything shut down, and we had just placed a huge order, like literally the day before. So we had all this food that we had to either donate or, somehow get rid of. And so I've always worked, the Office of Emergency Management is one of my top clients. So I've worked with them before the pandemic and definitely through the pandemic. And so I was taking cookies over to them. I took them over to the hospital, usually make the rounds of the firehouses. And when I was at OEM, I was kind of okay, so wait, to back up. So our hotel did not lay one single person off. My company, OTO Development, made the conscious decision that none of us would be laid off. We might be doing something that we didn't ordinarily do, like scrubbing walls or cleaning carpet. So I had a little bit of, not survivor's guilt, but it's I've got everything that I had before. So what can I do? Because I'm helpless doing anything else. And so I said, when I was talking to OEM, I said, well, what do you guys need? I can make cookies all day. And he's like, we actually need masks for the kids when they go back to school. And this was very optimistic. They were thinking 3 months later or 6 months later. And obviously, now we're still in the same situation.
Yes.
And so I had started making masks for my family and friends. So I said, well, I can do that. So I was making a bunch. And then I was like, they needed so many. And I'm basically the laziest person in the world. So I needed to find a way to get them a whole bunch of masks. So one of my clients is a woman named Margaret Podlich with American Boat and Yacht Council. And I was talking to her, and she happened to mention that she's in this quilting club and they were making masks for the hospital. And I said, well, I'm going to do this contest to get people to donate, because there's so many people that are just helpless, that don't know what to do. And so I approached my boss and I said, do you think we can, do this? We'll partner with the city and with OEM and do whatever we, can do to kind of do our little part. And then literally in the course of an afternoon, it went from, we're going to make some masks to like Good Charlotte were going to be our judges for it. So
yes, I saw that. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, also, full disclosure, my daughter is their number one fan. Like she grew up with them. Like it's just stupid crazy. So last year there was I don't know if you remember the Capitol Gazette shooting. It's terrible, but they had a benefit concert and I volunteered with the mayor's office helping with that. And I actually met their tour manager at the time. And so I said, well, I'll reach out. All I can do is either ignore me or say no. And he didn't do either. He emailed back. He's like, was temporary. Here's the guy who's really the one you need to talk to. And literally a day later, we were set up to do it. And so it was just insane how everybody just pitched in to do that. Yeah. So Joel actually, we had a Zoom call that kicked off the program. And it was like the mayor, all of our state delegates and legislators. And we kicked it off. We ran it for 2 months, and our goal was 2,000 masks, like 1,000 children's and 1,000 adult. And we ended up at the end of it with 3,600 masks.
Wow,
and
that is.
Yeah, it was just stupid.
And I'm sure it's a domino effect. I'm sure those people creating masks are still probably making some today or made some throughout, the pandemic that were.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Margaret, the woman that I just spoke with, we actually kind of switched over to surgical caps. My brother's a emergency department nurse. Okay. So I asked him, like, what do you need? So I've been making like surgical caps. She switched to doing that as well. We kind of got sick of doing the mask for a minute. But then, it's just doing something because we're working. A lot of people aren't working, and there's so many people that just don't have the resources to go and either make their own mask or buy one.
Absolutely.
Like several.
There's so many people who did get laid off. So, to be so fortunate to still have our jobs through this, and you made the most of it. So great job there. I was wondering how Good Charlotte got involved. I was like, how did she pull that off? But it makes sense now because I listened to them as well throughout middle school and high school. So.
No.
My goodness.
I was like best mom of the year. Yeah.
Yes,
and then
I'm sure.
Joel was so nice after. I had sent him a bunch of masks to like kind of hold up as a prop for the Zoom call. He ended up signing them all, and Benji signed them. He sent them all back. And then he sent all of us that participated like a signed, actually I'll show you, it's kind of cool, like a signed picture of both of them.
Love it.
Which is, and it was like personalized to everybody.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, and then we put, like, I made these, certificates of appreciation for the mayor and everyone that participated, and there was a mask in them. Mm-hmm. So it's just really, they're such good guys, and they're such Maryland guys. So it was just so nice that, again, like they've got a lot. So for them to give back was amazing because they don't have to do it. I'm sure they get approached 87 times a day to do something. Nobody even blinked an eye. It just took off, and it was awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So it seems like the community was so involved in this. Do you feel like your hotel has a closer relationship with the community now after Mask for Annapolis, or do you think it was existent before then?
As I said, my company is always like they have these 5 principles that guide us, and one of them is like basically being a really good part of the community, and they've always encouraged us to do that. So we've always done stuff like we do Toys for Tots every year, and we do like even just taking the cookies around before all of this. But the relationships and people that I met over the course of this contest, like literally, if anything happens in Annapolis, like people call me, like, so it's so great that it actually works out, well, like business wise as well. Annapolis is a really tiny, tight knit community, and it's like if you do something great, everybody knows about it. If you do something not so great, also everybody knows about it. So 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 it's nice to have done something really nice for the community, and kind of actually be rewarded for it, which it was not the goal, but it was obviously a nice benefit.
Like it got so much press too, as it should have, to have some positive news in the midst of all of that going on in the past year is phenomenal. So have you seen an upward turn at your hotel specifically from the numbers?
Yeah, so we're actually really lucky again. I have Delta Airlines stays with us.
Mhm.
And so all the way through the pandemic, we were okay.
Okay.
You
Did you
know,
have the pilot in there every night?
yeah, we have pilots and flight attendants.
Okay.
So we've been okay. The rate is obviously way down everywhere, but our occupancy has been really steady. And it's actually the last couple of weeks, we're watching every week. It's more and more as the weather's getting nicer and as people are finally like putting their toe in the water, like, do I go? Do I not go?
Yes.
So we're
and
looking.
The vaccine too. I think that's pushing people to travel a little bit more. And
Oh yeah.
No,
so. Absolutely. But it's so nice. As I said, I have 2 groups coming up where we're actually going to do in-person meetings, which is, and Hilton has it. Yeah, it is really exciting. It's like, I didn't get so excited like about a 20-person meeting, but like just the fact that they're going to do it and that they're trusting us to take care of them, which is awesome.
Yeah, we've had some meetings come in-house again, and it's fun planning those. It was so busy before the pandemic, and now you're thankful that you have people coming in and you get human interaction. Because I like human interaction, on a day-to-day basis rather than being at home. So what advice would you give to hoteliers, throughout the rest of this pandemic, or just how to become more involved in their community? Because it seems like you are a great influence there.
So I'll answer the second part first. So just, you spend most of your day at work. So like wherever you live, that is kind of your community. And it just feels nice to do something nice. Like if for no other reason, to kind of, whatever the thing is that, goes off when you do like a good thing, that you just feel great. And honestly, this whole thing has been kind of embarrassing because it's not about me. It's about like what we're doing and the support that I actually get from my company and from my general manager to be able to like take, because it was, once we had the initial idea for the Mouse for Annapolis, it honestly was a lot of work to like get it all in place. But like my marketing department like did this whole fantastic campaign, which they actually won. I think they won the bronze award for Adrian Awards from HSMAI. And then now I forgot the first part of the question. Oh, what advice I would give. So just be flexible, because I'm going after business that I would never go after in a million years. But you can keep banging your head against the wall saying this is terrible, things are awful. Or you could say, okay, yes, there's no business, but there's some business. So let's go find that business. So, typically a couple times a week, I circle through the parking lots of competitor hotels, or not even competitors, but like
just hotels
that we
around.
wouldn't. Yeah. And honestly, like there's a sheriff that sits in one of them that I know he thinks I'm a drug dealer because but 2 times a week I like cruise in there and then I like cruise out, and he's probably sitting there for a very valid reason. So I haven't been arrested yet. But like just taking pictures of construction trucks and then calling. And it's just kind of fun because it's like way back when I started, that's what you did. Like you went and found business, and it wasn't all just coming in and like, here, this is what, just sell me, I'm going to call you. So it's been like, we'll do like a jump for joy because we get one guy for 4 nights, which, a year ago, I'm like, okay, I don't have time for that.
Very typical. Yes.
Yeah. And then it's also just kind of a back to just really taking care of who's here, because you take for granted, like we do very well. And we don't take for granted our guests, but we now really don't take for granted. Like we roll out the red carpet for everybody. And it's like, once you make a decision to take kind of this sort of business, they're your business, right? And it's like they deserve, the red carpet treatment just like everybody else does. So it's been awesome. And just I have another customer who converted his business into doing those 3D printing masks.
Yes, yeah.
So basically, yeah. So he's like a contractor for the Navy. He stopped doing that, had everybody working 24 hours a day. They gathered up all these 3D printers from these different high schools, and they just went and went. And I think they did a couple thousand of them.
Wow.
And it's just nice to see like the people that I work with before this are actually just super decent people. You know, like
You have
it's
a
just
good heart of gold.
yeah, it's been so rewarding. So yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, M3's been pretty, involved in our community too throughout it. We actually did sew some masks, kind of like you. I don't think we reached that 3,000 number, unfortunately.
Well, I didn't do it myself. So.
That's true. But what you did was absolutely wonderful. Do you have any last minute additions or comments, questions?
No, we're gonna get through this. Like,
Yeah.
who knows how long it's gonna be? Like, just stop thinking about it. We'll get through it.
Stay
And
positive, be flexible. Advice from Mary Parks.
Yes, those are my 2 pieces of advice. We will get through it. Nobody knows when, and let's just do it all together because
Do it, absolutely. Well, it has been a true delight having you on today. You are a true hospitality hero. We recognize it, and I'm sure everyone in the industry does as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of M3 Minutes. We learned about a great cause and received some wonderful advice from Miss Mary Parks. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to click the subscribe button. Also, to learn more about M3, visit m3as.com. Until next time, hoteliers.